God wants you to get closer to Him. We are constantly living in a world where we are told that we can find happiness, satisfaction, peace, all these things through worldly things, like how much money we have, how many people we sleep with, the kind of car that we drive, how many followers that we have. But those are not things from God. Those are not things of God. Those are things that the enemy wants to distract us with. Those are things that the enemy wants to shift our focus to so that he can distract us from forming that relationship with God, from having a relationship with God. Because if the enemy can control the way that you think, he can control the way that you live. So if you're so focused on how many followers you have, how much money you have, all these worldly things, how many people you could sleep with, all these worldly things, then you're never going to get closer to God because your focus is not on knowing God. And there's a difference between knowing God and knowing of God, right? Because knowing God, you know his characteristics. You know that he is gonna be the rock of your life. You know that he's gonna help you through any situation that you need. There is so much things that God can do for your life if you actually start to form a relationship with him and get to know him. He is so good, so faithful, so loving, so merciful, and he will never leave you. He is the only person in your life that can bring healing, that can bring love, that can bring true happiness, that can bring true peace. Instead of focusing and chasing all these worldly things that are never going to fill that void, that are never going to make you feel the way that you think they're going to make you feel, focus on God. Because again, that's how the devil, that's how the enemy wants to distract us. He wants you to think that all these things can, fill that void or make you feel good about yourself. But that's not what this life is about. It's not about doing things that feel good to us or that make us look a certain way to the outside world or to other people. It should be about bringing others closer to God and focusing our life to him, devoting our life to him, because he's the one that can change our life for the better. And that's how the enemy also distracts us. He makes all these worldly things look enticing, look like they're better than what God has in store. But I promise that whatever God has in store, yes, it may be harder, it may take a little longer, it may, not come instantly, because we do live in a generation where we all want instant gratification. We want things right when we want it rather than waiting. But the gift of God is so much better, so much more rewarding when you wait it out, when you put your faith in him and trust him, and that you see all the pieces slowly start coming together. Because again, the devil, he wants to influence your mind. That's his agenda. He wants to, take a hold of your mind so that you can't focus on growing a relationship with God, so that you don't even think about forming a relationship with God. But this is your sign that God wants you to get close to him, that he wants you to get to know him. You need to enjoy the things that you have instead of desiring the things that you don't have, because we live in such a worldly generation that, again, we are constantly being told that we can find happiness, we can find all these things to make us feel good about ourselves in worldly things, but nothing that you know nothing that takes a second to achieve is going to be worth it in the end. Good things take time, and God's timing is never the wrong time. So when you are chasing all these worldly things and you are trying to find fulfillment through, all these bad things that that aren't really gonna make you feel good afterwards, or that are gonna bring you fulfillment, ask yourself, is this something that God wants me to be doing? Is this something that brings me closer to God? That's just something to really think about, because again, like, the devil, he wants to distract us. He wants to distract you so bad. He wants you to not be focused. He wants to throw all these things in your face to blind you from the bigger picture. And if you haven't read the Bible, I really recommend reading Ecclesiastes, where it talks about how trying to find fulfillment through worldly things really is a waste of time. What they constantly say in this book is it's like chasing the wind. It doesn't bring you anything in the end. It's just like you come to the same conclusion, the same ending every time when you try to find satisfaction through worldly things. But with God, it's different. God can change that outcome. God can change the way you think your life is projected, the way you think that your life is headed. God can change all of that in a heartbeat. But you need to get close to him. You need to form a relationship with him. You need to get to know him.